What's up, world? This is Salim with Flip for Figs, and today we have episode 3 in my figure matchup series. In today's battle, we have Jedi Master Qui Gon Jinn versus Master Old Ben Kenobi. We're going to be comparing head sculpt, clothing and details, posability, accessories, and overall value for the money to see who comes out on top. Stay tuned to the end of this video to see who next week's figure matchup will be.
Flip for Figs.
When I flip, you flip, we flip.
Alright, so in terms of head sculpt, I mean, there's no denying that this is Liam Neeson. It looks just like him. I think they did a wonderful job on the likeness, the skin textures, I mean, the brow lines, everything about it. It just looks fantastic. I think the only thing that kind of takes away from the realism of it is the hair on either side. I don't know how else they could have achieved it. If they went with like rooted hair at the time they had that kind of doll hair, I don't think that would have looked good. I don't even know if an artisan edition would look kind of good either, trying to keep it to, fall evenly and everything. But yeah, I don't know what it is about the hair. It's just a little too symmetrical. And furthermore, it does kind of affect your ability to turn the head, so much, because this is about as far as you can go. And again, I don't know how else they could have gone about that, but it just kind of bugs me a little. Maybe I just wasn't a fan of his hair at all as Qui Gon. I mean, it fits his mystique as this kind of Jedi master, but yeah, I mean, if I had to score the head sculpt, I would give it a 9 out of 10, only because that hair is throwing it off. Otherwise, it would be perfect. All right, now people always have something to say about Hot Toys head sculpts, but I feel like you can't say anything negative about this head sculpt. I mean, it looks exactly like Alec Guinness. It's just fantastic for a figure that's almost 10 years old. I feel like it could have came out today, and if it had moving eyes, I mean, it would just be. I mean, in my opinion, it's still a 10 out of 10 head sculpt, because the moving eyes don't, it's not a huge deal for me, especially since it wasn't offered at the time. It's not like they neglected to do it. And even so, his face is so expressive. I mean, from every angle, it's like the Mona Lisa. He just stares into your soul from every angle. I couldn't find anything negative about this head sculpt. I mean, look at the wrinkles, the brow features, the skin texture. It just looks like you shrunk the actor in miniature form. And for a head sculpt that's almost 10 years old, I mean, it can outpace and outperform, many modern head sculpts right now. And Qui-Gon's clothing is super movie accurate as well. The quality's good. It's kind of, similar tabards and robe situation as you've seen, but this is one of the better robes in terms of the fact that even though it's not wired, it really falls very naturally. The hood is wired, so you can kind of fuss with it a little bit. I know some people actually use this hood for their artisan Anakin to be able to achieve that Sith look. So I think this is one of the better robes there are. I really like kind of the detail under, on his forearms in terms of the clothing, and you can see it when you look at the extra lightsaber arm, just kind of the way that it looks almost like bandages, even though it's robes. And he's got really cool boots. I feel like a lot of Hot Toys Star Wars figures have kind of similar boots, but this one is really unusual with like the different buckles there and everything like that. So that's cool. I haven't tried the look with the poncho, because you know I feel like that's so scene specific. And even though I did get Darth Maul with the speeder, I don't plan on kind of displaying that overall scene, since I only have one Qui Gon. But I think if you have multiple Qui Gons, it would be cool to have one with the poncho. But for me, that this look with the robes is just more iconic. All right, so in terms of the outfit, it just looks great. I mean, his robes are, tattered on the bottoms and frayed as they should be, because he's been wearing them for ages. Um, you know, I like him displayed with the robe on. Now, you do have to be mindful about some of the dye transferring to that, but it's not as bad as it is on the Revenge of the Sith figure for Obi Wan. And yeah, you've got his pleather belt here with the hook for the lightsaber hilt. And then, his boots look good. They're also pleather as well. But, again, unless you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on them, they should hold up pretty well. I mean, this figure's already really old. I bought it used from another seller. And despite being, almost 8 or 9 years old, it still looks really good. And yeah, I think it just captures Obi-Wan's essence perfectly from A New Hope. Alrighty, now on to Master Qui Gon Jinn. This is everything that you're going to get in the box. You're going to get a swooshing effect lightsaber blade. You're going to get several different hands, including some force push hands, ones that can hold the little comm link, which we'll talk about in a second, as well as another lightsaber holding hand and a pointing finger as well. You're going to get the comm link accessory, which is just kind of like their little, comm link or walkie-talkie. You're going to get a little grappling hook for when they invade the Palisat Theed. You're going to get this little projector stand, as well as the Mace Windu hologram, which I feel like is more accurate to Mace Windu than the actual Hot Toys Mace Windu figure. And then you get a Sith Interceptor, Darth Maul's ship, also in holographic form, as well as Master Yoda here. And then this is the old version of the lightsaber light up. And then you put the cell batteries in there, and the lightsaber hilt is attached, and it is interchangeable with the different blades there. You also get the Qui Gon Jinn display stand, as well as the crotch grabber, and you get his Jedi robes, which I have him displayed on, as well as this nice poncho here for when he was in the desert and he got attacked by Darth Maul. Alrighty, so Master Old Ben Kenobi, this is everything that comes in the box. Get the old version of the lightsaber light up hilt, which comes attached to the arm that you can put some cell batteries into. You're going to get 5 total hand sculpts, 2 that come on the body and 3 additional ones with some open palm force looks, as well as an additional lightsaber holding hand. And interestingly enough, you get another lightsaber hilt, which you can't put a blade into, that has the little hook that you can attach the onto Obi-Wan's belt. And then, of course, you get the display base with the old version of the crotch grabber, as well as his robes, which I have displayed on him. All right, in terms of posability, you get a lot of range of motion out of this figure. He is a Jedi, so it's to be expected, but the fabric undersuit, really make it super posable. You can't quite get a 90-degree angle out of his thighs, which I thought was interesting because you can with most of the other Jedi. You do have to be mindful about going crazy with the ankle posing just to not affect the pleather boots. But other than that, arms and everything like that, you can get him in most of the poses you want. The only thing that limits posability is just the hair. You can't fully turn to the right or the left, which is frustrating, but I don't know how else they would have achieved that. But it does hinder posability nonetheless. All right, so posability wise, you're going to get a lot of range of motion out of this figure. It's a cloth undersuit, so you can go crazy with the poses, even though obviously he was very old. Well, not really. I mean, he's only supposed to be in his 40s in A New Hope, but I guess all that time under the Tatooine sun, really aged him. But you get a lot of range of motion, even if you wanted to kind of put him in a bunch of crazy poses. It's a cloth undersuit, so it's super flexible. You don't have to worry about kind of stressing any joints or anything like that. Alrighty, so in terms of value for the money, when Obi-Wan was launched, he was around $250 to $265, which was the average price of a Hot Toys figure. However, he does come with very limited accessories. In fact, in terms of all the Hot Toys figures I have, I feel like he has probably, the least amount of accessories for a human character. With that said, I don't know what else they would have included with him. It's not like we saw him use a bunch of different accessories in Star Wars A New Hope. But, maybe they could have gotten creative somehow. I mean, you get the extra hands, you get the lightsaber light-up arm, you get the robes, which are tattered and nicely detailed. So everything you get is good quality, and it all looks great. But, it is kind of minimal for the price you were paying. Now, aftermarket, it's even more so because this figure actually runs for around $400 to $450 used, and that's because it's the only old Ben Kenobi we have, and the sculpt has held up tremendously well over time. We talked about the face sculpt earlier. It's literally a 10 out of 10 face sculpt. So with that in mind, if you're picking it up aftermarket like I had to, you may feel that you're not getting your money's worth Qui Gon Jinn is actually a great value, both at his MSRP launch price of around $265 to now, where you could still get him for around that price, if not less. I think the reason his value never shot up is because for a long time there was very few Phantom Menace figures, and they never released, Padawan Obi-Wan to go with him. So I don't think the demand for Qui-Gon is quite as there, which is unfortunate because it's a great figure. The sculpt is perfect, and he actually comes with a ton of accessories. I mean, they didn't need to include the comm links receiver. They didn't need to include, the grappling hook or the little hologram with the 3 different swap out holograms and his poncho. I mean, they gave you everything you could possibly get with Qui-Gon, which is just fantastic. And so value for the money wise, whether you're picking it up aftermarket or you bought it at retail price at launch, I think you definitely are getting your money's worth with this figure. All right, so let's go over those results once again. So Obi-Wan got head sculpt, even though they both have really great face sculpts and they both look like, the actors, they look like Alec Guinness as well as Liam Neeson. I think because the shorter hair, there really is no gripes with this head sculpt at all. It's perfect. Whereas with Qui Gon Jinn, I just don't love the hair. Again, I don't have any suggestions on how they could have done it better, but with me, it just takes a couple points off. So, the head sculpt is definitely with Obi-Wan. In terms of accessories, Qui Gon Jinn wins accessories 10 out of 10 times. They included the poncho, the robe, they included all of the different, holograms, as well as the comm link and the grappling hook. Now, in terms of posability, they both are very posable, but I think Obi-Wan is a little bit more posable. One, because the hair on Qui-Gon kind of gets in the way in terms of you moving the head around too much, and I struggled with the thighs a little bit, getting a 90-degree angle, which you could definitely achieve with Obi-Wan. And in terms of, the sculpt and details, they both have, really movie accurate outfits and everything like that. But I just feel like Obi-Wan's robes are a little bit stronger, and I do like the way that they're damaged or frayed a little bit on the bottom. Again, with Qui-Gon, it looks exactly like it should, but I do think that, Obi-Wan just has the better details and everything like that, even though I do like Qui-Gon's boots. And then in terms of value for the money, I gave that to Qui-Gon Jinn just because you could still pick it up for a good price, and even at retail price, you get a ton of accessories. Alrighty, so in terms of crowning a victor here, we've got to give it to Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. But it was just kind of really cool that the wheel chose both of them, because I think they're evenly matched in terms of character arcs and in terms of kind of their clout as Jedi Masters. But yeah, for this specific matchup, Obi-Wan takes it.
On next week's episode of Figure Matchup.
When I flip, you flip, we flip.